It's an intoxicating feeling, seeing your actual app on an actual device. It's like giving birth to a kid or being in a relationship for the first time. You feel so proud that you see your app on your phone. But you shouldn't stop there, because the whole point of developing for Android is that you want to send your application to a bigger audience, whether it's just within your country or the entire world. And you can't do that by directly installing your apps to your device. To do that, you need to be an official Google developer. And the next thing that I'll show you, and something that you can use to as a capstone for your project, is to how to prepare your projects for deployment on Google's Play Store. So what is Google's Play Store? If you go to play.google.com, if you have the internet available on your computer, that's the Google Play Store. It's similar to the Mac App Store on a device. Okay, on a device, you can get to this by going to the official Google Play Store application, which I can't seem to find right now. Oh, there. So this is the Play Store app, and that phone has no connection to the internet. I will go to one which actually has one. So the Play Store is your entry point for downloading free and paid Android apps. It's available on the phone. During its early days, this is the only way you can access it. Or now it's available online through play.google.com. Unlike Apple, which only has one app store, there are actually alternate app stores available for you in Android. Those include Amazon. And if you like China phones, some China phone manufacturers have their own app stores installed. If you bought a device from little-known manufacturers, sometimes they don't have the Play Store app. So what do we have here? We usually find a list of all the available applications that you can install on your Android device. The great thing about the App Store is it actually filters out applications that are not compatible with your device. And this is the whole point of being an application developer in Android. You want to see your app appear in the Play Store because this is still the store with the biggest audience. If your application hits it big, it's because it's on the Play Store and it's become popular among Android's users. Okay. So before we go into the nitty-gritty of that, things like Angry Birds or Evernote, they appear either as editor's choices or as staff picks. Brought up editor's choice first. You'll see Game Popular with my nephews, Subway Surfers, couple of games. Most of the time, games are really popular in Android. Utilities like Google Drive, games like Funky Smugglers, social apps like Pinterest, they are all here in the Play Store. Whether you plan on selling them for free or selling them for a price, it must go through the Play Store. Now, how do you go about that? It's actually simple. You go to the register form on developer.android.com. You can just Google for it. Don't need to memorize the long URL here. And this will guide you into the actual publishing process. Be prepared to pay. You need $25 to become a registered Google developer. Once you go through the process, like I did, you'll get access to the developer console. Okay? You'll notice that my console is empty right now because I haven't been brave enough to actually upload any of my applications. But if you did upload it, it would appear here. When you're actually uploading something, so I'll click you'll notice that the new application or preparing a new application has two routes you can follow. One, you upload the APK immediately. APK again is the Android package file. Which is basically the installer for your Android app. If you wanted to pirate Android applications, Google for APK, and normally you get a list. But you didn't hear that from me, especially when the cops ask about pirated Android applications. If you're done with your app, you can upload the APK. Aside from the APK, you also have the option of preparing the store listing. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. I'll cancel this for now. The APK is something that you can prepare when you go to Eclipse. Okay. So we have our ready application already. Let's go back to our database application. I'll just close the windows that I don't need. When you're ready to distribute your apps to the whole world or just your friends, you have to convert it into an APK because we can't connect everyone's phone to your computer and directly install it that way. So I have my database application here, and I'll right-click on it. Oh, sorry. I'll click on File, and then I'll click on Import. Once I've clicked on Import, or sorry, Export. Export. You'll see from the choices that you have Android and you have Export Android application. This takes you through a wizard that gives a step-by-step process by which you eventually end up with an APK. So we'll go through that process. First step, you have to designate a project that you want to convert into an Android package file. Since I've selected our database project already, that's the one that appears there. In case it's not the one you need, you can click on Browse and it will show you all of the applications that you've created in the workspace. So I want this one, database simple example. I'll click on Next. It will ask you for something that you might not have experience with, a Keystore. What is a Keystore? It's an encryption file that marks your application as yours. When you create a Keystore, you make sure that you use the same file over and over again so that the Play Store knows the application comes from you. Since this is the first time we're doing this, we have to create a new Keystore. Browse for a location. Make sure it's somewhere that you can easily remember and easily find, because once you've created this one, it's always better to use the same Keystore over and over again. I'll put mine on my desktop. I'll create a new folder called Keystore for it. New folder, and then I'll name it Keystore. So all my Keystores will be placed here. Have to give it a name. I'll just use my full name. And then click on Save. So this is now my new Keystore file. You need to give it a password so that you're the only person who can use it. I'll click on Next. And then you just need to fill up certain information. Alias is whatever nickname. If you want your full name, you can use it. Or a code name, the name of your crush. or favorite pet. Alias is anything you want it to be. Put in another password. I normally use the same password for the Keystore and for the key itself here. Validity should be at least 25 years. So most people put in 35. The validity certificate is used by the Android device to check if an app is still safe for running. So we've almost filled out our Keystore information. All that's left for you to fill out is at least one field in the section at the bottom. If you're working for a company, more often than not, they want you to fill out this section, indicating what software development company you're working for. Most individuals doing Android development fill out the section for first and last name. If you want to fill all of those boxes, feel free. So I'll just fill this out with my name and my 2-letter country code, because you always have to be proud of your country. Click on next. You have to save the APK somewhere. Again, the APK is your actual installer. This is what you put inside your Android device so that your application gets formally installed into the device. Or this is what you upload to Google if you want your app distributed on the Play Store. So I'll make it easy on myself. I'll place it in the same folder where I keep my Keystore. So you'll notice that I browse for the destination. Again, I'm putting it in the same folder where I put my Keystore. Some people would be obsessive compulsive about this and create another folder for the app. That's fine. Do whatever is comfortable for you. Give your APK a name. I'll just use the same name as my project, database simple example .apk, and I'll click on save. So I have it set up now. This will be the name of my APK file, and this will be the name of this will be what I'll click when I'm done setting it up. I'll click on save. The wizard will give me the path where I'm saving it, and it tells me that the security certificate will expire in 35 years. I'll click on finish. Eclipse will do some processing, and in a few minutes, our app will be ready for installation on other phones. Okay, so now I'm almost ready to distribute my app. I now have my APK file. Again, that's what you can send to your friends and tell them, hey guys, I have this great application. Feel free to demo it, test it out. I'm sending you the installer. The installer, again, is your APK file. How can they put it on their phone? First, we do it the simple and easy way. I've connected my Android device via USB. Okay, and then I'll make sure that I'll connect it as a storage device. So I'll turn on USB storage. If you haven't done this yet, what this does is to turn your phone, and if it's a really high-priced Android phone, it turns it into a glorified USB flash drive. So I've connected it via USB storage. My Dropbox detected it now as a flash drive. So it's asking me if I want to import pictures. Of course not. I'll just open an Explorer window for it. So this is my Keystore. I'll just arrange my windows so you guys can clearly see what's happening. Okay, so now this phone actually has a strange way of presenting itself when connected via USB. Again, it depends on your device. Most of the big brands like Samsung or Sony shows only the internal, or shows only the SD card. when you're connected as USB storage. Some of the China phones like this cloud phone shows both internal storage and the SD card when they're connected via USB. So I'll open my phone's SD card, which is represented here by the removable disk. And if we take a look at the folders inside, this is one thing that I don't really like about Android because I tend to get obsessive compulsive about how my drives are organized. When you start installing stuff on your SD card, Android creates a ton of folders inside it. So again, if you're a bit obsessive compulsive, it might drive you crazy. No matter how much you arrange it, Android will mess up your organization. So I just deal with it by creating certain folders. For my APKs, normally I'd create a folder called APK where I can send my APK files so that when I look for it later, it's easy to look for them. So again, we're pretending that you're trying to install this either on your device or on a friend's device because you created a great app and you want to show the world, look at my app. So I have my APK. This is on my computer. I'll simply transfer it to my phone. Some people would go, you should have just done it wirelessly or through Bluetooth. You can do the same thing. And you can look for it in the Bluetooth folder. So now, I have it on my phone. I'll disconnect the USB connection. So it's the proper way to disconnect your phone from your computer. Always turn off USB storage so that your SD card properly ejects and is recognized again by your phone. Some people might risk it and just pull out the phone. Be aware it might corrupt your SD card. Most of the time it doesn't, but for those who want to be on the safe side, turn off USB storage. It's off now. I'll disconnect it. And I'll wait for the SD card to stabilize. Go to my application tray. And then I'll go to File Explorer. Most Android devices have their own File Explorer installed. There are exceptions. If you're one of the lucky ones who don't have a File Explorer on your phone, download the app from the App Store. So now I've opened my File Explorer. I can see the different folders that are on my SD card. So here's APK, the folder I created, and where I installed my APK file. So you'll notice it says now database simple example.apk. Before we actually install it, I'll backtrack a bit, go back to system settings. Before you install APK that do not come from the Play Store, you have to set your phone to be able to install anonymous files. So I'll go here and I'll go to security. On my phone, well, on this phone in particular, it's under security and there's an option that says unknown sources. If you put a check there, you are now allowed to install non-market apps. Okay. So it's a risk that you take, and Google wants you to be aware that you're installing a program that did not go through the Google Play Store. So don't do this if you're not aware of the implications. Some people actually get viruses and malware when they do this. But if you're doing it for an app that you created yourself, then you're pretty sure that there are no security concerns. So if you're doing a lot of development, you always have this check. I'll go back to File Explorer. So I have database simple example.apk. Since I've checked install from unknown sources, I can click on this, and you'll notice that I'm now asked a question. How do I want to complete the action? On this particular phone, it says package installer. Depending on your device, sometimes it will say, do you want to install the app? Some would just say install, yes, no. Again, it's device dependent, but you'll see something similar. I'll click on package installer. Now it gives me the question, do I want to install this application? I have cancel or install at the bottom. I'll click on install, and it will now install it. It successfully installed the application. I can open it now. And just like when we used it as an emulator, I now have my Android application inside my phone. Once more, give yourself a big round of applause. This is actually your first step to having a full and complete professional Android application. Okay? So this is a big leap from just using your phone as an emulator to actually going through the process of having an APK file and installing the app as if it came from the Google Play Store. So we'll put it through its paces just to make sure it works. I'll enter some random item, save it. I'll get my toast message at the bottom. I'll enter another one, save it, get the toast message. After it disappears, I'll click on the second button to get a random piece of data. It shows up as a toast message at the bottom. Again, a toast message. Our app is pretty simple. It doesn't really do much in terms of practicality. But now you can say, okay, with complete confidence that you developed an application in Android, you were able to package it, and you were able to install it on a real Android device. See it running and see it working. That's more than you can say when you started this journey in Android application development. Okay? So you can break open the drinks, have a party, because this is your first app and it's on a real device. Okay? I hope you guys start making more applications and use the concepts that we showed here to develop more complex and more practical applications. I'd say good luck, and hopefully you become really rich from Android application development.